Well, hello everyone, welcome back and welcome to today's video. Today I am sharing some of my most favorite DIYs that I have shared here on my channel. I have compiled them all together, I have re-edited everything, and I'm just so excited for this. So there won't be just DIY home decor, there will also be some DIY projects that I've tackled here in my apartment. Things like my island, things like the board and batten behind me, and the DIY sideboard that I have underneath my TV. So lots of fun, easy, simple DIYs coming your way. I am all about simplicity. DIYing does not have to be difficult, so I hope that I can show you how easy it could be in today's video. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and get started. Starting off with the first DIY, I have thrifted this lamp, and this is so affordable, $1.99. There is no way you will find a lamp this size at a regular store. I love the shape of this lamp. I always pay attention to the shape. So when you find yourself a beautiful lamp that you love the shape, disregard the color, not a big deal. If your lamp does not have any texture like mine over here, you need to go ahead and sand it down, and this is crucial for your paint to stick onto something, because if you go ahead and spray paint or paint this over without sanding, it will not stick. It will eventually peel and it's not going to last you a very long time. But here I am going to tape off all of the important things that I want to go ahead and tape off, and I am bringing this outside. I'm using this beautiful spray paint as a base to cover up this print. After about half an hour, my paint is dry. It is looking beautiful. You can leave it as is, but I want to go ahead and add a little bit of color and dimension. So I will be bringing in these two beautiful paint colors, Territorial Beige and Warm Buff, and I am grabbing a paper towel. I am dabbing it into my paint, and I'm dabbing the paint on my lamp. It is that easy. This technique is so easy, is so forgiving. If you put too much of it, you can grab a damp paper towel and wipe it off. So I will be using two of these paint colors together and kind of dabbing this all over until I get the look that I'm really going for. And just like that, I have transformed my $1.99 lamp. On to my second DIY, I have also thrifted this vessel here. It was originally $5.99, and with all of the coupons, it came out to 89 cents. I have never scored such a deal on anything ever, but I'm going to take this outside and I'm going to add some texturizing spray paint. So this is going to create the texture for me, something for me for the paint to grab onto. And unfortunately, as you can see here, I did not have enough to cover the entire thing, but no worries, that is enough texture for me. I am taking some black matte paint and I am painting this all over. And I will be doing the same technique I used on the first lamp that I shared with you. I'll be grabbing a paper towel and I'll be dabbing an assortment of colors all over this vase. I'm not going to repeat myself, it's literally the same thing, and I really do love this technique. If you already have colors that you love, feel free to use that. Otherwise, you can make your own little potion of different colors, and again, you put too much, you can always wipe it off, and I just love how I'm able to really customize this piece for my home. For my DIY number 3, I had this beautiful console underneath my TV. It had legs. This is how it originally came. You can see all the dirt, all the toys. We don't like that at all. So I'm gonna start off by first removing these knobs. These knobs are okay, but I think they can be so much better. So I am going to start off by taking off all of these knobs, and I did order some beautiful ones from Amazon, and I thought the black was a little bit too harsh and the gold that they offered was a little bit too gold for me. So I'm bringing it outside here on my craft towel. I will be using my most favorite bronzy spray paint, and I will be giving these little guys a quick little spray paint. After my knobs had some time in the sun, they are looking stunning. I absolutely love this color here. So I'm just now gonna go ahead and take the time to attach these knobs onto this console, and it completely transformed this look. It just softened this up. I feel like it gives so much more credit to the wood color. It just really brings out the best of these little console tables, and I did purchase 4 of them and put them together to create one long unit. But to solve my problem of toys and dirt, I'm gonna go ahead and take off these legs, and this DIY was so simple and made such a big impact. For my 4th DIY, I'm heading into my entryway, and it's looking rough. It is bare, it is plain, and oh, for Pete's sake, there's even a handprint on there. So first thing first is I need to go ahead and clean up these walls. This takes literally no time at all, but is very crucial for what I am about to do. And what I'm about to do is actually put some peel and stick wallpaper. And if your walls are not clean, your wallpaper will not stick. So I feel like it is very crucial sometimes to do the prep work before actually doing the job itself, because that's what's gonna make it last. This is the beautiful wallpaper I chose that I'm going to go ahead and put on this wall. It is neutral. It is right up my alley. This is something I'm not gonna get tired of, and I just cannot wait to see it up on this wall. This hallway is very small, it is dark, and I feel like this wallpaper is really going to lighten up this area. And if you guys haven't used stick and peel wallpaper, it is basically a ginormous sticker. If you have a friend or a spouse that can help you, it's gonna make your job go so much more. But me being me, I'm an independent woman, and I'm gonna try to do this myself as much as I can, and this does take some time, so give yourself some time, especially if you're doing this for the first time. But if you pick a wallpaper that doesn't have a pattern, it is very easy to just slap it on the wall and call it a day. This pattern here was a little bit difficult to line up. It took me some tries, but as you can see, I can unstick it, stick it back. It is really, really easy to work with. To remove any air bubbles, you can go ahead and use a card or anything you might have on hand. I just literally used my hand. I found that that did just the trick. And if you do notice that there is an air bubble, all you have to do is take a little X-Acto knife, poke that little air bubble, and it is gone. So this is a lot of fun to do and quite easy. Alright, so I ran to Home Depot. I picked up these sticks. They are very affordable, and I'm gonna put them here just to cover the lines. And you know, we could not always be an independent woman, so my sweet husband is here helping me cut these boards up. And showing me how to use a staple gun. I have never used one before, so this was the first project where he taught me how to use it. You better believe future projects I am using them by myself, but I feel like adding these boards really added a nice trim. It really finished off the look, and this really was so easy. I think for the amount of time that it took, it really transformed my space. Alright, let's move on. I had this canvas that I haven't really used in a while. I wasn't loving it anymore, and instead of donating it or throwing it away, I wanted to bring it back to life. I'm going to use Mod Podge as a base for the glue, and then I am bringing in this beautiful print from Etsy. This print was $3. So upgrading your canvases could be very, very cheap and very affordable, and you can stop there and call it a day. But I did want to go ahead and kind of add some texture to make it seem as if this print here was hand painted. Here it's pretty flat. You can see when the sun hits it just right, there's just no dimension. So using the same Mod Podge as I used before, I'm gonna go ahead with some brush strokes and create some texture. And there was really no clouds up in the sky, so I'm just going diagonally, going crisscross, doing whatever just to create some texture. And then on the pine trees, I'll be going with the way of the branches. That way when the sun hits just right, it looks like somebody hand painted this painting. And this is so fun. I did this print here for the winter time, and I can't wait to try something like this for the spring and summertime with florals. I'm just so excited to add texture to little prints like this. This is so easy and such an affordable way to create a new canvas. For DIY number 6, I have thrifted this lamp. The shape is stunning. I love the shape. I'm not a fan of this color thing that's going on. It just doesn't match me. So I need to go ahead and add a little bit of something to this lamp. This lamp was $7.99. I don't know if I've ever honestly went to the store and purchased a lamp. It's just so affordable at the thrift store. But to add a little bit of texture, I'll be using Drydex. But before I can go ahead and do that, I need to sand this lamp down. So the same thing goes as my last lamp that I shared with you. There is no texture on this lamp. So in order for me to have the paint stick to this lamp, I need to create some rough surfaces. I'm going to wipe this lamp down, grab a sanding block, grab sandpaper, whatever you have to scuff up your item, and that will make your paint stick like glue. Here you can see all of the scratches and the scuff marks I have created with the sanding paper. I'm gonna go ahead and quickly wipe this off so it's nice and clean, and we are ready to get started. To create texture on this specific lamp, I'll be using Drydex. This thing is wonderful. It goes on pink, dries white, so you know exactly when it is dry, when it is still wet. And I am putting on my gloves and I am covering this lamp with Drydex. You can use any kind of design you want. I just decided to start from the top and pull the Drydex all the way to the bottom. That's just kind of the look that I was going for, but if you want something different, you can always do like crisscross strokes or circular motions. The sky is the limit. You can DIY your item in any way you want. I really wanted this beautiful kind of long look on this lamp, and the messier the better. I feel like the more texture we have, the better, especially since this lamp had no texture at all. So after around 2 hours, this lamp is finally dry. It took a hot minute because there is lots of layers of it, but what I'm gonna go ahead and do is take a sanding block and I'm gonna lightly sand off any rough edges, any excess dry decks that I have, because even though I do want to have texture, I don't want to have anything too crazy popping out of this lamp. After I've sanded it down to my liking, I love the way it looks, it is time to paint over this lamp. I will be bringing in my little craft tray that I use all the time for my crafts. I'll be adding some paint to it, and I'm mixing different colors to create a very unique look. If you already have paint that you love, then skip this step and just go ahead and use your paint. I will be using this gray color as the base. I'm going to quickly paint over this lamp. It doesn't have to be anything perfect. I actually prefer my items to look a little bit more vintage, a little bit more rough. I find that it adds a little bit more character to my home. And after this gray is completely on the lamp, I'll be taking a combination of different paints, and I will be doing, you guessed it, the same technique I have used before. I'll be taking a paper towel and I'm dabbing my paint on it, and I feel like layering your paint is key. It's key to add dimension, it's key to add texture, and I just played around with it until I got the look I liked, and this $7.99 lamp turned out looking so much more expensive than that. For DIY number 7, I am here in my living room. I have this ginormous wall that I just don't know what to do. It's a lot. It's a very large wall, and I've just finally decided to put some boards on it, kind of like a board and batten kind of situation. But first things first, I need to touch up this wall. These apartments were remodeled in 2020. And you know, over the years things just need a little bit of updating, so all I did was ask my manager for the same color of paint, and I'm able to touch up as I go. And that is so awesome because, you know, if I make a hole in the wall and I need to patch it up and paint over it, I have the paint with me always. So I'm gonna go ahead quickly, paint over this wall, and then we're gonna get started on the board and batten. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love painting, and not necessarily like painting art or anything like that, but painting walls. It is just so therapeutic to me. If I had a chance to paint every wall in my apartment, I would take that without a doubt. But here, now after the paint has dried, I'll be taking some measurements to make sure I have enough equipment, enough items to do my little accent wall. I ran to Home Depot, I picked up these boards, and I am gonna go ahead and roll on the same paint that I have used on my wall. That way it just looks very seamless and beautiful. After my boards had some time to dry, I am gonna go ahead and cut them to size. To cut them to size, of course, it'd be best to use a saw if you have one. I live on the 3rd floor in an apartment, so I obviously do not own a saw. But what I did is I just ran to Home Depot. I got this, I think it's called a MITRE box cutter. I don't know, something like that. And I have used this in so many DIYs, it's not even funny. So this really comes in handy. I am so grateful for my sister. She came over to help me with this project. She is so good at math, so she's the one that helped me measure everything out, make everything come together. So thank you, sister, for your help. I am using this staple gun. It leaves the smallest holes in the world. Like, it's not gonna damage anything, but at the same time it holds everything you need to hold. My living room is finished. It is looking beautiful, but I do need to go ahead and do some finishing touches. So I took some caulk and I put it on the areas that really needed it. I'm gonna go ahead, let this dry, come in with some sandpaper and then some paint, and then we are truly done with this DIY. For my DIY number 8, I purchased this lamp from Amazon. It's stunning minus the yellow color. What is up with that? I don't know. But again, very easy fix. The easiest DIY in the world. Tape it off, pick a spray paint color of your choice, and that's it, you guys. It is the most easiest thing in the world. It is amazing what a can of spray paint can do and how it can transform your home. So after spray painting this, I'm gonna give it some time to air dry. I'm gonna bring it back home, and she is looking gorgeous. She's looking beautiful. Definitely an upgrade from the before. Moving straight along to DIY number 9, I am here in my hallway. This is a narrow hallway. It leads to all of our bedrooms, the bathroom, and well, it's just sad and dark. That's all there is to it. I did have some boards left over from a previous DIY, and I was like, you know what? Let's do a little board situation. So I went ahead, took some measurements that I needed to make sure that I have enough materials to complete this DIY, and here I am again with my handsaw. This thing is so useful, I'm telling you. Such a great investment if you're not able to have a legit big saw in your house or your apartment. So I'm cutting down these pieces to size just to make sure they fit all nicely. I had these picture frames of my kiddos that were not being used, and I really did want to go ahead and use them. I mean, they're so cute, I have to look at them all the time. No, but really, these weren't being used and I needed something to go up on this wall, and it just so happens that my 2 girls' room is here on the left and my 2 boys' room is here on the right. So this felt like a perfect opportunity, a perfect place for these pictures to go up. And I'm very beginner DIYer, so I'm not sure if I am doing this in the correct order or not, but I'm gonna go ahead and hang my picture frames first, and then I'm gonna come in with my little boards to frame them out. And it does look nice already even without the boards around them, but I really wanted to upgrade this hallway. So here I will be bringing in my boards. I'm using my handy dandy staple gun, and I'm attaching these boards all around just to kind of frame out this area. This hallway is already looking so good, so much better than the before. But after stepping back, I did not like the stain of these boards, so I took the paint, the same paint as the wall color, and went over these boards. If I knew that I wanted to paint them, I would probably paint these boards before I put them onto the wall. No big deal, I just went ahead and painted them over, and I just love me a monochromatic look. I love when everything blends in, doesn't stand out too much, and by doing this, it really helped everything tie in together. I had this picture light in my home that I was not using, and I wanted to go ahead and use it. That hallway is dark, it needed a light. It was this weird brownish color, and that wasn't doing it for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and tape this off and spray paint it with the same spray paint that I have been using throughout my entire home, just to upgrade it a little bit. And this is the most easiest DIY ever. Use what you have, spray paint it, bring it back to life. After some time, my lamp is dried. I'm gonna go ahead and attach it right above the picture frames. This really does create a lot of light in my hallway, but also shines on these picture frames, makes it a focal point. And this light is great. It is rechargeable, so I will leave a link to it down below if you guys are in need of a light like this. And for my last and 10th DIY, I'm gonna keep it super simple. If you have a wreath that you haven't used, the best way to upgrade your wreath is to add new stems. Remove any old stems that you're not loving anymore and add new ones. I did this wreath for the fall time. It was a little bit too plain for me, so I headed out to Hobby Lobby, picked some beautiful stems, I put them inside, and it instantly elevated the look of my wreath. I also did something similar in the winter time with this wreath right here. This wreath was from Hobby Lobby and it was beautiful, but I thought I could add a little bit more interest to it. So again, we're keeping things so simple. Put some bells and a ribbon on it. That's all it takes to really transform a wreath. And that about wraps up today's video. I hope you guys found some ideas on what you can DIY. I love DIYing thrifted items. I love DIYing items that I already have, just to kind of give them new life, because let's be real, I love change and it is expensive to change things around all the time, but by DIYing I'm able to create new life in an item and make it look brand new in my home. I gotta say that my credenza right here underneath my TV is probably my most favorite, following my entryway. I love those two pieces. I love those two areas. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for being here, and I cannot wait to see you next time. Bye.